Your mom, Charlie. We're gonna talk about your mom.
She's probably live streaming this from London, right?
Charlie's mom is adorable. Is it true that she sends you bad reviews?
No. My mom's just great. She's such great value. She's a really wonderful influence in my life. Both my parents are bad, but she finds the humor in this being an actor and being semi-famous and all that kind of stuff. She doesn't get wrapped up in it, and so she occasionally likes to send me the comments that people make that aren't maybe very flattering. And when I first, my favorite one, a few of you may know that because I've said it before, when I got the job, the Daredevil job, it was announced, and then you scroll down, there's all the comments below, and she sent me one that was, someone had said, I don't know this guy, but I don't like his face. And I was like, I was immediately, because they were, you get the job with Daredevil, you have about 10 minutes of elation, and then you go, oh crap. And so I was already feeling a little nervous, and that didn't help.
I think your face is a joke.
Exactly.
Elden, Matt, Charlie, Daredevil, he's got Karen, he's got Claire Rosario Dawson is Claire, there's Electra in his life, but I gotta tell you, I love the relationship with Darcy, the bits and pieces that we've seen of you guys, and I don't know what's gonna happen in season 3, and even if I did, I wouldn't talk about it, but I just love the chemistry between you guys. I thought it was really fantastic. Amy Rucker, who plays Darcy, is really great.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. If you had as playing Foggy, again, we are not saying what's going to happen. What would you like to see happen with that Darcy, Foggy relationship? Do you prefer Foggy, and is it Foggy Karen? Is it someone else? What do you think?
Well, I really enjoy working with her, and she actually is sort of a weird thing where she had dated a friend of mine back in the day, so I sort of knew her or knew of her sort of throughout our group, and she's really great, and it's nice when you work with someone to have a little bit of a familiarity, so I would love to, honestly, man, I'll just leave it up to the professionals. Man, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Speaking of cliffhangers, the funny thing is, I don't know if fans realize, but you guys, when you go into a season, you don't necessarily know where it's going to go, right? I mean, so you get the scripts, and that's when you find out a lot of the reveals of what's happening to your character and other characters. Charlie, for you, what was one of the biggest surprises when you got a script and you go, oh my God, I can't believe that's happening? And by the way, spoiler warning if you haven't seen the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, in many ways it's quite fun because we get to read the scripts, and we get to experience what the audience will experience in watching the show. Because if you got given a kind of an outline, you're reading a 2-3 page document, very brief outline of an entire season, and so the drama isn't quite as intense as it can be if you're watching it hour by hour. So as the scripts come in and we read them, there's often texting each other, or Deborah and I are texting about what just happened. I think the one that kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up a little bit was the end of, I think, episode 8, might have been 7, season 2, with the big hole, and the way that was described, and in my imagination, and I thought they brought it to life beautifully as well. But I just remember thinking, I just had a moment of because by then I was really invested in the comics, and so I knew about this. I was kind of waiting for this mythical element to become part of the show, because I think it's vital if we're going to make Daredevil to have that, and for it to be dealt with appropriately. And so just with the kind of the reveal of this weird, never-ending hole in the middle of Manhattan, and I just remember thinking, cool. And I hope we get to find, I don't know, because I haven't been told anything yet. No, I know. But I hope I hope that hole is explored more. It's not
I'll explore that.
We fill it really good. And it's season 3, it's just dump trucks.
What is
Thank you.
happening right now?
Elden, what about you? Any reveals in the script when you went, oh yeah?
I sort of don't like to really know what my character's not supposed to know. So I kind of, as we get the scripts, I sort of look at what I need to know for the scenes that we're going to be shooting, and I sort of wait till afterwards. So I didn't really have any of those big surprises as we were going through. But I gotta say, man, it's. I've been surprised. Every episode we do, there's always something cool. There's always, and not just for Charlie, but for every character in the show. There's always, everyone's got their own thing going on, and it's really well done. So yeah.
You both of you guys had a tremendous number of scenes with Deborah Ann Woll as Karen. Tell us a little bit about her, and also you talk about EJ, right? Because she brings a unique perspective into this too. I don't know if you guys have any stories, because I love watching Deborah on camera. She's just such an amazing performer and really encapsulates Karen.
Deborah's literally one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like, so nice that, in fact, when I first met her, I was like, this is not for real. Like, she's definitely, but she really is that nice. I mean, it's really incredible. We're actually really lucky. Everyone on our cast, not just our cast, but the entire crew, everyone's really cool, and there's not a lot of ego, and so it makes it really fun, and just an absolute pleasure to come to work every day. And she's great, man. She's really great.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say, I can't say enough good things about Deborah. First of all, I think, again, it's not an easy role because Karen Page is kind of so earnest, and often as a character being that earnest isn't that cool. But I just think she brings such life to the what she calls the Scooby Gang. She's such a professional. She's got so many great questions, and also she's the biggest fan on set. You know what I mean? Like, for years before she was on Daredevil, she was cosplaying at these things. You know what I mean? So she came to we went to Comic-Con in Chicago, and she brought her teeth, her fans from True Blood. And I was just like, what a cool thing to do. So she wore her fans for a lot of the photos.
She's also really smart, and I'm playing a lawyer, and I'm totally uneducated because I'm an actor, and a lot of times I have to ask her, hey Deborah, A, how do you pronounce this word, and B, what does it mean?
And Deb is, she has a lot of nerd cred. I mean, her boyfriend EJ Scott is a huge comics nerd, and also she has a unique perspective because EJ is legally blind, right? So her boyfriend in real life is kind of Matt Murdock, and he even looks a little bit like Matt Murdock,
So he came to the premiere dressed as Matt Murdock.
He did. Before we get to fan questions, I want to ask you, because you had, I was there at the beginning with you, watching you go through all the preparation to become Daredevil, and obviously you had to hit the gym and you had to buff up like me,
Totally, I did. Yeah,
we have the same trainer. Okay, we have the same trainer. This is the before. That is the after. I know you put your talent coach in, your actor, you got so entrenched. But what you talk about quite often, that I think was probably the most important thing, was learning to be blind, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I guess, that did take a lot of work, and
you had a coach, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I worked with a guy called a wonderful man called Joe Stretcher. He himself has been legally blind for 20 years. I just spent a lot of time with the guy. We would go out in the city of New York, and I'd be blindfolded, the joke is it was literally a case of the blind leading the blind. And I'd film him, and whenever I have a question, whenever I have to do something in the show, like make a cup of tea or play pool in season 2, for example, I always call up Joe, and we. He either films himself doing it, or he comes to set and shows me and stuff. I think that stuff's really, really important to get that right. One of the great things about Daredevil is he's one of the only characters who has a disability, and so he's immensely important to many people who have grown up with any sort of adversity. So to get that right is obviously of the utmost importance.
But even the way that you had to look into the camera, right? Because you had followed Joe's eyeline when he was talking, and
the first thing that I did for the first 2 episodes is I had some contact lenses made that looked exactly like my eyes, but but blacked it out, so I couldn't literally see anything. Which was really helpful for me and really unhelpful for everyone on set. And it was like, because you just don't have time to take them in and take them out, you know, all day long. And so there was like, for the first episode, and bearing in mind, no one knows me at this point, we're all meeting each other. And like within 3 days, I'm like clearly the most annoying person. Because I'm having to be led around everywhere, you know, in between takes. And so I ended up getting rid of them and just kind of, you know, doing it myself and trying to figure out, and it, you know, just figuring out where my eyes have to be based on where the camera position is in order for it to appear like he's, you know, Matt is not, he's not making eye contact.
All right, so we'll take a couple of fan questions, guys. Just giving you a heads up right now, just because of, you know, the way television works. And if you're asking us questions about future upcoming shows, episodes and stuff, we cannot say anything. So I don't want you to be disappointed when you get to the mic, so just let you know right now. So,
I don't know about Joe, but we don't know anything.
I know everything, dude.
We genuinely don't know anything.
I don't even tell them, I'm not allowed. So, okay, first question, what's up?
Hey guys, welcome to Toronto. I'm a big fan of your show, and it seems like you guys have such excellent chemistry together, like you work well together, great friendship. This is sort of a two-parter. What's your favorite thing about each other, and then your biggest pet peeve about each other?
See, I already know what he's going to say about the pet peeve. Here we go.
Well, no. Here's the thing. I'm a very lazy guy, okay? I'm always pitching the idea that I'm sitting down in the scene, or maybe even laying down. I'm also a grumpy dude, you know what I mean? And I like to complain a lot. And Charlie never complains, never. And like he'll be on, you know, on top of a roof all night long in freezing cold weather, and, you know, fighting or whatever. And I guess that's my biggest pet peeve, is that he never complains, so I feel like I can't complain. So could you complain a little bit?
I did. That's not what I thought you were going to say. The question was, what's our favorite thing?
What's your favorite thing about each other, and your biggest pet peeves?
Wow, man.
Well, for me, with Charlie, he's just a really easy guy to talk to. I was, you know, some stuff going on in my personal life during the first season, and he was just a tremendous help and always listened and never made me feel like, you know, it was a burden in any way. And, you know, yeah, he's a good dude. He's a good dude.
You know, I think that, you know, when you're doing any sort of, when you're doing a film or play or particularly a TV show, because it takes so much longer to shoot, you know, you want to have a nice kind of, like, you want to be able to, in order to do good work on a consistent basis, you need to feel like you can trust. It's a trust exercise, ultimately. And if you feel in any way judged, or in any way unsafe, or in any way kind of not given the space and the freedom to be experimental with your work, then the work always suffers. And one of the things that Elden and I have is that we have a really open dialogue. So if we want to try something, there's no ego around that. Like, it's not, I can say, look, can we try it this way? And Elden will be up for it. Or he'll be like, listen, I don't want to do it like that. Can we try it, you know, can we make it more like this? And we'll sit down beforehand after and talk about it. And just having that open dialogue and, you know, like caring deeply about someone, I think it makes the work much better. I guess my biggest pet peeve is what Elden said about himself, is that he's always looking to sit down and sing.
Can I give Charlie some of my lines?
So Charlie, you usually say, can we play the scene this way? You know, and says, yeah, and then he says, well, but can I sit down? Right? That's why. Thanks. Next question.
Hey guys, my name is Malcolm. It's nice to see you, Charlie and Elden. I have to say, since the Defenders will be out soon, I'm really looking forward to the meet between Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Out of the 4 Avengers, I'm really excited for those two to meet the most. It's just, those two, they seem completely different, and it's going to be very interesting to see how the two will measure up to each other. So I'd like to ask you, Charlie, and this could be for Elden too, how do you think Daredevil will measure up to Jessica, and same with Foggy? Because at the end of season 2, like, you met Hogarth, so I think it's like bound to happen that they could meet eventually, possibly. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, great question, man. You know, I thought I loved Jessica Jones. I thought Kristen Wiig did an extraordinary job with that part. But you agree, I love how you're thinking because Matt Murdock, Jessica Jones is going to be an interesting relationship. Like, I can see them kind of getting on, you know what I mean? But they also, like, they're two people who they're not particularly friendly. Do you know what I mean? And so that's gonna be cool. The relationship that I'm most interested to see flesh out is the Matt Murdock, Danny Rand stuff. I just think that you know, that kind of, yeah, right? And I met Finn Jones the other day, so that was, I just think that in the comics that's a lovely relationship, so I'd like to see how that kind of works out on the screen.
Thank you.
Charlie, speaking of relationships, I mean, I think one of the most intense relationships in our show was between Daredevil and the Punisher, and John Bernthal. I remember when John came in to read for the part, and we were all just sitting there, at least I was sitting there going, I cannot wait to see John and Charlie just go at each other, you know. And I mean like in a physical battle, I'm talking about, you know, actor to actor kind of thing, you know, because you're both really intense, but it's they almost seem like 180 degrees and different, you know, in your approaches. You know, what was it like working with John? I mean, I found him to be an incredibly funny but intense dude, you know. It's a mixture of both.
You know, John's one of the best actors in our generation. I've been watching his work for a long time, and I think the guy's world class. You know, I don't think it gets much better than that. And he did. I thought he did such a great job with his part as the Punisher. And now he has his own show. You know, during the first season of Daredevil, Stephen DeKnight and I would have conversations, and we talk about this Daredevil, this show, was one bad day away from being Frank Castle, right? And this is at a point where we had no idea that there would be a second season and that the Punisher would appear in that. So going into season 2, knowing that the Punisher was going to be there, I remember thinking this is going to be interesting because this is ultimately this is going to be an anniversary of Matt Murdock's, but it's basically himself.
Okay.
You know, in many ways, and I just had a blast with him. Man. We had such a great time. That stuff on the rooftop in episode 3. You know, I was chained to a rooftop for 3 nights, to a chimney for 3 nights in a row.
And he never complained. And that's what I'm talking about.
Sorry, I kicked out. The piles after that wasn't nice, but you know, get on with it. Hey there.
Hi, love the show. I know we heard Matt already speak Spanish in the show, and we've heard Foggy mention that he can speak Punjabi. Are we ever going to actually hear him speak Punjabi on the show?
Joe? Am I allowed to answer that question, or am I going to get locked up in Marvel jail? I don't know. I have no idea.
But you know what? Good suggestion.
I know there will be a lot of excited little Punjabi kids to see someone on TV speak Punjabi.
We'll make sure that you're sitting down when you do it.
Hey, if I'm sitting down,
You're reading a book, chilling out, you know. So, great question. Hi there.
My name's Lily, and I'm just wondering if there's any character in the Marvel universe that you guys would like to maybe work with in the future, or anything like that.
Okay, so you guys can answer this. Strictly hypothetical.
Yeah,
right?
hypothetical. Just based on your preference.
Or you don't have to answer.
You know, I think based on Matt Murdock's history, it'd be, Black Widow would be cool.
I'm a big Chris Pratt fan. I mean, it doesn't make any sense, but I would love to work with that.
You know, speaking of characters, Vincent D'Onofrio. You know, aside from obviously being just a brilliant performer, brilliant actor, encapsulating the Kingpin, embracing the role. He was sort of behind the scenes, in between the scenes. He was sort of like a mentor in a lot of ways, wasn't he? I used to hear stories you guys would tell about like just Vincent sort of like, breaking the monotony of the day. Do you have anything, any good D'Onofrio stories? Clean ones,
In season 2, I had very little to do with Vincent. I think he was only in 3 episodes. But in season 2, we had a scene in the prison where I go to visit him, and the scene is kind of divided in half. I come in and I do most of the speaking, and I basically tell him how things are going to pan out, and then he almost kills me. And the way that we shot it, and by now Vincent and I are friends, and but as you say, he's a tour de force. He, like John, is one of the great actors of his generation, and I've learned so much from him. So the way we shot the scene is they shot my coverage first. So we did that, 5, 10 times, whatever it is, and then we turned the camera around and we came on to Vincent, and he has this kind of diatribe where he gets very angry, he smashes me on the table at the end of the scene. Anyway, before we started, he called the director over for his close-up, when they were doing his close-up, and he basically said, don't cut the camera, just keep rolling. I'm going to go in and out a little bit, but you'll get everything you need. And I remember thinking, interesting. I don't know quite what that means, because we'd done the wide shot, we'd done the scene a few times, and he's a pro, so he knows when he has to bring it, right? So, for his close-up, he started the scene, and then he kind of walked away from the table, which had nothing to do with the scene, and the director knew just keep filming, and then he kind of hit the wall a couple of times, and he screamed a little bit, and he came back and he started again, and then he went through to the end, and then he went back up into the middle, and then he repeated the first paragraph, and then he did the last paragraph, and then he walked away again, and it went on for a long time. But he just got himself into such a rage and such a state. And it was a masterclass in acting, and it was right. Eventually he finished, and they cut the camera, and that was it. We moved on, end of the day, because he got everything in that one take. And it was, I remember, I learned something that day. I tried it. I didn't do it quite as well, but I tried it.
I was there the day you guys were filming that, and it still blows my mind, right? Because it goes from literally like beating your head against the table, and it's like cut for lunch, like, hey Joe, how you doing, man? How's it going? Hey man, is it all right? Good to see you. It's a trick. So thank you. Next.
Hi, I'm from Vancouver, so I'm like super nervous and I'm excited to see you guys. So my question is for all of you, well, for Matt and Foggy. So in last season, we saw you two take on someone like the Punisher as a client, who would, by most people, be considered like a great character. Is there anyone that you could see from the Marvel Universe that you would take on as a client, like someone like Winter Soldier or the Hulk? Like, as like your characters, not.
As Nelson and Murdock.
Yeah, as Nelson. There's so many people.
That's a good question. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I mean, any of them, really. You know what I mean? That's kind of the cool thing about this Marvel world is like, everybody who plays these characters are all really good actors. They're all people that I really want to work with. So I don't know, man. That's a tough question. Anybody?
I mean, I would say it would be cool to take on Tony Stark, because then we could go to Stark Tower.
That would be dope.
My second question would be, if you could choose a partner between Foggy or the Punisher, who would it be?
What's the question?
Between Punisher and Foggy, who would make the better partner?
I'm not answering that.
Damn, man, that's cold. I'm sorry.
I would choose Foggy, please.
You choose.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hania, and firstly, I would love to hear Foggy speak Punjabi in the show. And so I was wondering, since a lot of these dark vigilante characters do struggle with morality, and a lot of these stories are similar, And I was wondering, how does Daredevil's Catholicism make his struggle and experience different from, say, Batman?
That's a great question, especially because Charlie, you were brought up Roman Catholic, right? You know, so it is a really, and that's one of the things that I always love about Daredevil, you know, and Matt Murdock, so sorry.
Yeah.
Can you make it work? No, it's not my fault. Don't blame me. Yeah, really good question. I think it's one of the other things I love about Matt Murdock is that he has this religious background, and I think that's one of the reasons that making this character on a show rather than in a film, having 13 hours, 26 hours to explore these characters, I think has benefited us so much, because one of the things I find most interesting that we did with this show is that we've got these superheroes who go out and they do the stuff that we love, we see them kick ass and all that kind of stuff. But then we get to go home with them and see how they feel about what they're doing. And some of my favorite scenes are when we see Matt, having been out all night, beating up bad guys, and then he comes home and he sits with his feelings. What a cool idea to see, and we see a bit of shame, and we see a bit of vulnerability with him, and we know that there's this cloud hanging over him, there's this doubt that what he's doing is the right thing to do or not, and how is he going to reconcile that? One of the things that Joe and I talked about, there's a scene at the end of season 1 where he's put away the costume and then he goes back to it under the stairs. He brings it out and he opens it up, and then right at the end of the scene, while the camera's on him waiting to figure out what he's going to do, he makes the sign of the cross, and he heads on out there because that's the best he can do in that moment. You know what I mean? That's the most. He can ask for help, but he's doing it anyway. Do you know what I mean? And I just think it's, for an actor, it's awesome to have that being pulled in all these different directions. It makes it so much more interesting to play.
Yes,